Hello everyone and welcome to another beer review. Now today we're doing home bargain beer, technically, because it seems to be that this seems to be sold more in home bargain than anywhere else, probably because of price. But today we're doing Tuborg Fıçı. Now Fıçı in Turkish means cask, and this is supposed to be Tuborg cask draft is basically what it means. See at the top of the label there, but yes. So it's Fıçı, and it's brewed in Turkey, and even though Tuborg is supposed to be a Danish beer brand, in 1967 apparently they opened a brewery in Turkey, and they tend to kind of brew their own kind of beers for their own kind of market and for that kind of surrounding area, and they're not just making standard Tuborg products that might be found and brewed in Denmark, as what it basically my research has found out. But yeah, this is 5%. It's a 500ml bottle. The price varies. If you get it in home bargain, I think it's roughly about £1.29, £1.30 a bottle. If you buy it in all these kind of other kind of more Turkish-based shops, then it can be more expensive. A lot of them are around about the kind of £2 mark, although some online kind of shops are selling it for almost £2.50 a bottle. So it's definitely, if you do like this beer or you do want to try it, it's probably worth your while to get off your arse and go to the shop, like Home Bargains or something like that. I don't know if I got this in Home Bargains, I'm not sure. I think I did. Really strange one, but yeah. And is there any other spiel on it? Like I said, it's 5%, and yes, probably enough, it's brewed in Turkey. And there really is no real information on this at all, apart from it's imported by Anatcon Foods Limited, which is based in London. So there you go. So it's imported by that company. And I've never tried it, so let's see what it's like. But to kind of show you what it's like, because sometimes it's quite hard with these type of beers, especially when they're kind of mass-produced lagers, is to really get the flavour across. So what I'm going to do is, because they're kind of a similar kind of price range, I'm also going to review it next to this, which of course is the Rheinbacher Pilsner from Aldi. And of course, this is a Pilsner as well. So let's see how they kind of compare, especially price-wise and everything else. So it could be quite interesting. But the main review is really for this, because we've already reviewed, I think, the Rheinbacher Premium Pilsner, apparently. But we'll see what it's like with this one. And let's crack it open. Ooh. See, get these in Russia. I always used to like that, because of course you can get beer bottles like that. So of course, drinking beer in Russia isn't such a big hoo-ha as it is here. So you can, on a hot summer's day, you can nip into a kiosk shop or something like that and buy a beer and just pop it open and have a drink while you walk along the street. And obviously, if you were drunk and out of control, then probably the police would have something to say about it. But if you're just calmly walking down there and just having a nice refreshing beer, nobody cares. So there you go. In this country, Jesus God. Oh, you thought you're basically the devil if you basically crack open a beer in public nowadays. Oh. But anyway, let's see what this is like. So for people in the podcast, it's a nice light clear golden colour. It seems quite well carbonated. It's about roughly about a finger head, and it smells slightly sweety, malty, grainy. You get a kind of light sweetness that I'm getting. But yeah, overall, it looks not too bad. But it is. Just by looking at the glass, it seems to have quite a lot of carbonation in it. But I suppose it is a kind of Pilsner stroke lager, and it will be kind of mass produced. The head's now kind of dissipated quite quickly. As you kind of notice, it was not a bad head, and well, yeah, it's nearly kind of completely gone. So let's see what it tastes like. Not too bad. Not too bad. What am I guessing with it? There's a little bit of sweetness there, but not as sweet as what I thought it might be with the aroma. It's just how the aroma was and the smell of the beer. It smelled a bit sugary in the bit way, but no, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, so that's quite good. And it tastes a lot better than some of the beers that we had at the weekend. In aging, we thought we'd go and try some of the local kind of pubs and see what they're like for the basis of maybe doing some reviews of some cask ales. Yeah, that went well. Went to my local pub, and it was quite funny because we were in Wetherspoons. We've got a bad habit, we go and get a takeaway, so we were basically getting a takeaway, and we went into the kind of kebab shop, ordered the takeaway, and then ran up to the Wetherspoons just so we could have a couple of pints while we're waiting for the food to get ready. What did I have? I had Otterbright, and when I was in the Wetherspoons, and there was it was just watery piss. It was a bit totally honest. There was no flavour there. What's going on with this bloody thing there? Bloody cheese making noise. But yes, just watery piss, and I gave Adrian a taste, and he's like, "There's no flavour in that." I said, "Yeah, that's the problem with Ottery Brewery. It's hit and miss. There's consistencies all over the place." And he said, "Anyway, I quite like the bitter. I quite like the Otter bitter." Okay. So went to the pub that's closest to where I live, and funnily enough, apparently it's been voted pub of the year for the area. Fuck knows what. Seriously, Jesus. You walk in there and all the furniture's mixed and matched like a fucking charity shop. You know, you get in there thinking, although, jeez. So of course we goes in there, and of course it's got the Otter bitter on tap. So we thought, right, sod this, right, okay, right, we'll get 2 glasses of that. So we get 2 pints, sits down, gets wired into them, and Agent's like, "This doesn't taste as good as the last time I had it." Oh, really? This is a surprise. Keep bloody telling you, it really is hit and miss with this fucking brewery. It really is. As good as they can put out a good cast, they'll put out a fucking bad one. But yeah, so we did that, and we thought, right, this is crap. Well, we're not enjoying the beer, and I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable. Kind of like, you feel like you're just sitting in a charity shop with a pint. It's just, and the kind of locals are a bit strange. So we thought, right, bugger this. So we'll go to another pub, and we decided to walk it. So we walked 1.4 miles to go to the next pub. But I did suspect that this pub did have Timothy Taylor products. I thought, well, it's worth it, because I think it is. It's reported. That beer's totally dead now, by the way. Look at it. No head on it at all. So we walked this 1.4 miles, and then sure enough, went in there. They've got Timothy Taylor, landlord, on tap, or on the pump is probably the best way of putting it. And I know that the St Austell Brewery is the agent for Timothy Taylor down this area, so you order it through there. And I know the price of the keg. I think at one point it was for sale. The keg was £117 plus delivery and things like that. And I was looking at that thinking, oh, here we go. So 2 pints of Timothy Taylor landlord. No problem. That'll be £10.30. What? £10.30. So there we go, £5.15 for a pint of fucking Timothy Taylor. Even buggers. Which, fair play to them, it was a nice pint, and I did enjoy it. I certainly wasn't going to fucking enjoy another one at that price. Plus, again, it was a strange one. It's one of these pubs where it's more to do with food. It's really more of a kind of a restaurant rather than a pub. And they've got a big bar areas and the kind of restaurant parts of it, which is completely dead at this point on a Saturday night. And you've got this kind of little bar area where there's a dartboard and some seats, and the kind of locals are sitting in there, all drinking, the fizzy piss water, from the brightly coloured taps, the shiny chrome taps, that kind of shit. You think, Jesus. So we got the hell out of there, and then we went up to another pub, and they had a local beer on cask, a bitter. That was absolutely sour. So it was off. The cask was off. I had 2 sips and I thought, no, bugger that. Sod it. And at that point, he'd went on the side. He thought, no, I've had enough of this crap now. So yeah, we visited 3 pubs, walked 3.2 miles in total, and had 1 good pint. But it cost me £5.15 for it. You thieving buggers. So, yeah, our kind of reconnaissance of the local kind of pubs immediately round about my area didn't go very well. So I'll have to look further afield to try and find pubs that are more suitable, not just for kind of location wise for filming and doing a review, but also to have something that's worth drinkable, to be totally honest. And there's no point in going for Otter, the brewery kind of pubs, because they're so hit and miss that they're too difficult to review, because I could be slating it or I could be saying it's wonderful. And the problem is though the next time you have it, you're slating it again or saying it's wonderful. So you're all over the place with it. So there's no consistency to it. So I don't want to review. I want to review casks and that potentially are going to be good. And I also want to do it in pubs that I can rely on, that they're actually going to manage their casks properly, because, well, let's be totally honest, we did 3 and one of them certainly doesn't. But anyway, to get back to this beer, let's see what it tastes like. It's got, at the front of the mouth, you get a little bit of malt, you get quite a lot of grain, you get a light sweetness. Moves on to the mid-tongue, it's still got a nice level of malt in the mid-tongue. It has dissipated a bit, but it's still decent enough. Again, we get a nice kind of grain flavour in the mid-tongue, but you get a slight creaminess with it as well. So slight kind of slightly creaminess with the grain flavour. And again, the underlying sweetness, although it has dissipated a bit, it's still nice there. There's no real kind of crispness to it. And there's no bitterness to it. But it's got quite a clean finish. Because when it goes on to the aftertaste, is that the grain's still there, nice and crisp. The sweetness is still there. And it just kind of dissipates. But the thing is, though, it's the malt doesn't really transfer over into the aftertaste, but it just, there's no acidity, so it hasn't got a dry finish, but it's kind of crisp because it doesn't linger. It just straight in there and it's gone. And yeah, it's an okay beer. I mean, for £1.29 a bottle, it's fine. It's not a problem. From that point of view, it's quite light. Surprisingly enough, I thought with the amount of carbonation that was showing in the glass, it was going to be a lot more fizzy and a lot more kind of unpleasant in the mouthfeel, but it's actually not too bad. The only difference is that it's absolutely dead. There's no head on it at all. But it's quite easy drinking, quite sessionable. The flavours are just nice and pleasant, not too much in your face, nothing too overpowering in the flavours, or nothing weird. And one of the nice things, there's no real kind of chemical flavours or tastes in it, which is surprising enough, is something that you'd expect to get in more mass-produced beers, and especially one with this type of kind of price range. So it's nice and refreshing to have that. Yeah, it's quite a nice standard kind of Pilsner stroke lager, and yeah, nothing offensive about it at all. And for the money, seems not too bad. But how does it stand up to Rheinbacher? Ooh. The Rheinbacher is only 4.5%, whereas this one's a 5%. And apparently in the past, this was obviously, like I said before, was actually not too bad for the money and the flavour and everything else, and the quality wasn't too bad. And then they pissed about with it, and they made it worse, funnily enough. And apparently it's supposed to be got a bit better again, so they say. But it's brewed in accordance with the German purity law. In other words, they're not allowed to put piss in it, like they do in Wolverhampton. So let's crack this open and see what it's like. There we go, get it in the can, eh? Right. You can do it. Ooh, there we go. This is about 1.5 finger head. Again, lots of effervescence in the head. Well carbonated. It is lighter in colour. It's a lot lighter. It's kind of very light, kind of straw colour, very clear. You compare the two of them, as you can see. Smell wise, let's see what it smells like. Now there's a strange thing. You're getting some grain. You're not really getting malt. You're just getting slightly kind of grain and very kind of light hop. I wasn't really getting any hop aromas from that, but you're getting this kind of light kind of hop aroma and a bit of earthiness as well that you're getting with this that you didn't get with. You get very more of a clean smell coming from the Turkish Tuborg. So let's see what this tastes like. Right, there is a bit of bitterness to this aftertaste. So there is. Right. Yeah, a bit of a kind of bitterness and sourness to it. Slightly chemical aftertaste that you're going to get with this, which for me isn't very pleasant. The other flavours are, that's a strange thing, it's quite weak. In the front of the mouth and mid-tongue it's quite weak in flavours. And then you get this kind of bitterness, kind of burning rubber kind of accents in the aftertaste. I'll be honest, it's actually not too bad in the mouth until you swallow it. You hold it in the mouth and you're thinking, well, the flavours are a bit weak, but they're not too bad. But then the minute you basically swallow it, you start getting this kind of slightly kind of chemical flavour in the back of the throat that reminds me of burning tyres. No, no, there's no comparison. Right. Let's see if the Tuborg can get that flavour out my mouth. And it does. Yeah, big difference. For me, there's a big difference in quality, even though there isn't that much of a difference in price. I can't remember what the Ringbacker was, but it was over £3 for 4 cans anyway, so it's not that far away from the Tuborg Turkish from Home Bargains. But this is a 5% beer, whereas the Rheinbacher is a 4.5%. this is drinkable, quite easily drinkable and quite satisfying from that point of view. And the flavours are quite nice and there's a nice balance to it. And yeah, it's quite sessionable. It's not probably the most aesthetically pleasing looking beer because it is quite dead and things like that, but how it tastes, yeah, it's quite nice. And I quite like it. What would I give this out of 10? Now, what I would do is, this is a slightly different series that I'm starting, so I will be looking at the likes of places at home bargain and them selling kind of cheaper, kind of known brands of beer, and buying them and then comparing with a kind of an equivalent supermarket own brand, like say from Lidl or from Aldi or anywhere else, and just see how they kind of stack up. And are you better to go to the likes of Home Bargains and these other shops, B&M and things like that, and buying discounted known brand beers, maybe not brands that are normally sold in the UK, and basically compare them with kind of the cheaper supermarket owned brands, and are they really the bargain that you think they're going to be? Because I don't think they are. And this has proven it straight away that it may be cheap, but if it's not enjoyable and you don't really want to drink it, then where's the bargain? Hence, that the Rhinebacker is not as good as the Tuborg Fıçı draft, which is a higher alcohol content. So yeah, this is my winner. I would definitely go for this one, and it really is quite nice to drink, quite refreshing. What would I give this out of 10? Well, for the price and the flavour and everything else, and comparing it to kind of more mainstream piss waters like your Forsters and your Cellars and everything else, I would say this is a far nicer beer, to be totally honest. And I would probably give them about 3. Normally I would probably give them between 2 and 3 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 5.5. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. I would say, from the point of view is, if you take like average mainstream lagers, I don't think any of them would get a 5 in my view. Looking at from the Tenants lager, that pisswater in Scotland, to Carling and all these type of things, they all are under 5. 4, 3s down to the 2s. This, I would say, yeah, I would say it's slightly above average from my point of view if you take the price into consideration and everything else. The problem is well, how easy is it for you to get? Because I noticed that when I went to one of the home bargains, they didn't even sell alcohol. And I spent all that bloody time wandering about the place trying to think, well, where the fuck's the alcohol? They don't sell it. They have a bigger food section, no, grocery section, whatever you call it. So, but yeah, what would I give the Rhinebacker? Well, to be totally honest, what would I give Rhinebacker out of 10? Fucking hell. It's night and day. Seriously, it's absolutely night and day. To the point is, it's not getting to the point that there's no comparison. It really is. One's actually nice and drinkable, and the other one's just not. So the Rhinebacker, what would I give it? I can have a 2, because it's not nice at all, really. Not nice at all. So, if you're looking for a cheap beer, don't go to Aldi and buy Rhinebacker. Go to Home Bargains and buy Turkish Tuborg Fıçı draft, because it may be just slightly more, but you're getting a far better product, and you're also getting more alcohol. So it's a win-win, and for me it's a no-brainer. So, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.